An address by beloved Archangel Uriel, Angel of Ministration. Uriel, Uriel, in thy love let all dwellings in the Father's heart, holy name, bring us ministration's flame. Take the earth all that's wrong, let her sing love's sweet song. Bathe our earth from above in Christ's blessings of love. Uriel, Uriel, with dear Jesus foretell all the freedom, joy, and peace that is bringing earth's release. With this dawning new day, hope of God's seventh ray, Jesus' sixth ray above crowns dear freedom with love. Uriel, Uriel, let all hear freedom's bell, whose mighty holy sound shall be heard the world around. Freedom's reign is now real, freedom's bells do peal. Filling space, angels sing, earth's full freedom they bring. Uriel, Uriel, freedom's friends love thee well, take the light and love we give, amplify them, make them live. In the souls of men, raised to God's heart again, now is victories in earth, setting Sadakurama free. Uriel, Archangel, time and harvest shall tell all the powers of freedom's might, to raise earth to heaven's height. Let all men bless thee now, every knee, to every bow. To thy sweet heart flame, to all God's blessings to you. Beloved Uriel speaks. May 16th, 1954. I am spirit of ministration. I am the spirit of peace. I am the spirit of grace. I am the servant of one God, and I stand before you, each one of you, this day as your servant also. Wherever the name of God is invoked, silently or audibly, there I am on the instant, with the fullness of love and blessings and the benediction and healing of faith and the power of the Almighty. According to the capacity to receive is the blessing given. I, Uriel, come into the atmosphere of this earth as an invitation to earth's people. I stand in your midst, bringing with me the fullness of the love of God. I say to your consciousness, to your minds and your bodies, in the name of the one mighty God, peace be unto you. Peace be unto you, your striving consciousness, your restless minds and weary bodies. The peace of God that does surrender and surpass the understanding of the outer mind. Let it enter now into every cell and fiber of your being, and you relax into the knowledge that you are immersed in the presence of the Almighty. You live, move, and truly have your being within the living, breathing, intelligent body of the universal God, and no matter how far you may stray in thought, you can never leave the safety of his bosom. It but requires you, the awakening of your presence within the safe secure of his loving heart. Ah, children of light, children of earth, God, part of the spirits of the eternal, even now, this instant, are you within the heart of the Father, of all the angels that people the inner atmospheres around your planet of Earth. The greatest legions are of Lord Michael, our Prince, and of Manifest and myself. We are the servants of God, and it is our great opportunity and joy in the universal scheme to minister unto the sons and daughters of God, of whom, woven out of thought and feeling, certain painful experiences, and who, in their extremity, sooner or later, invoke the superior power for assistance to extricate themselves. We are those legions who answer the calls and the prayers from the least of men. In graded order, the angels of ministration stretch from the heart of the central sun itself, down through the astral and psychic realm, even making a canopy of muted light around the compound, through the avenue of the silent watchers. We are alerted the moment the flame in the heart stirs, and the silent, God help us, arises from within the consciousness. At that time, according to the requirement, is one or more members of our legions sent to bring grace and assistance to the live streams requiring successor. The angels of ministration are the messengers of the Most High. They are those who embody the mystic quality of grace. The complement of my live stream is known at inner levels as Donna Grace. She is the lady full of grace. In the angelic kingdom, as my beloved Mary is representative of grace to the human kingdom at the present time. The assistance that is rendered to mankind of earth by the angelic host is very little understood. There is a cosmic law which is unchanging, which requires the call must come from the octave in which the need is felt. If this were not a self-evident truth, long since those of us who live in love and mercy would have lifted into light mankind and all shadowed creation, but through self-consciousness, free will, the life stream and consciousness within itself must apply for the assistance. Then to return the beam of that very energy comes to the radiation, the presence and the power of cosmic beings, the ascended masters, the angelic host, the mighty divas, according to the requirement of the hour. The great broadening presence that takes up their abode over these large cities, similar to the one in which you are presently living, are constantly watching for those beams, those flickers of light which pass out of the soul and which signifies as SOS to the heaven host for assistance. These beings then measure the need, make the call to one of the directors of the members of the angelic host in our sphere. That dictator gives the mission to an angel who is developed sufficiently to hold within his feelings world the particular quality and radiation which is the answer to the prayer. That quality of radiation stimulates the flame within the heart of the soul of the supplicant, and as the two meet, the supplicant himself is able to magnetize the answer. The answer comes according to his acceptance. The beloved angelic host who works with us starts with the little, tiny, younger angels who embody the qualities of faith, happiness, hope, and all the virtues, and who are able to retain, sometimes for no longer than an hour, the specific radiation of the quality which may be required on earth. Needless to say, their first endeavors to give assistance to the planet Earth are brief ones. They hasten back into the safety of the director, from whose arms and aura they have been sent forth to empty their tiny little vials of faith or confidence into the silver cord and life streams of despondent or despairing ones. Recording the victory of such a mission, the small being becomes more confident, more eager to learn, and more desirous of maintaining the self-control required to sustain a greater portion of the virtue of the quality of his next mission. It is thus by actual experience that the angelic hosts grow and develop and learn the joy that is within service. They are allowed to witness the change in the conscience of mortal whom they bless with their benediction. The joy and happiness that shines within the eyes of these infants is indeed beautiful to behold. When they see a stooped form straighten and a hopeless conscience again filled with faith, they come back into the temples charged with enthusiasm and a burning desire to return earthward again and again, until none of mankind or the imprisoned elemental kingdom shall require assistance outside of the flame that beats their own hearts. These are small beings, you who are endeavoring to hold for the portion of the day at least some virtue in your consciousness to give to others through contagion, can understand in the measure of joy of the angels when in your association you are able to convey a little courage, a little faith, a little confidence to one of your associates whom you meet in the course of daily living. Then, with renewed vigor, you return again to the source of faith and confidence within your own heart, applying there for the capacity to radiate a larger sphere of influence, that quality around you, within your aura, and to hold it up against the contamination from the mass mind for a longer period of time. It is a lovely way to experiment with your energy, perhaps taking some one quality each day that you might feel that mankind in your environment, in your home life, and in your business association. Then setting the spiritual thermostat of your consciousness and feeling world to that virtue, tuning in the cosmic beings who represent the momentum of it. Direct and sustain that specific virtue through your aura and sphere of influence. Despite the conditions, appearances, and shadows from the appearance world that might be face, try it. At first, your energy may change with quality at the appearance that is less than the perfection you have contemplated. Then, learning by experience, you will begin to anchor yourself among maintaining an aura, a force field around you, charged with the virtue that you will no longer be affected by any energy that you come into contact with, which is emanating from the masses. It is a marvelous service. That is the training of the angelic host receive at inner levels. This is a training into which you can enter until your force field becomes so much your servant that you can qualify it with healing, you can qualify it with purity or any other virtue, and can be assured that it will not charge or change, as you are assured that when your place, your dress, you suit upon your body, it will remain the same garnet until you return home at night. Certainly, the energy of God around you can be as obedient as that which is fashioned into the covering of your flesh. It is the homely and practical things that build mastery into a life stream and make individuals consciousness conductors. When there are among of mankind of earth and the embodied angelic host and the embodied elemental kingdom, those who can control their own auras, we shall have created channels through which to flash cosmic protection and cosmic light upon an instant to give an assistance to an entire city, an entire nation, and an entire planet. I would speak like to you about created and natural channels for a moment. The book of Genesis and all the succeeding biblical lore is being written again. Do you understand that? It is being written right now, not by unascended beings, but by God-free beings. It is a Bible made of the energies of archangels and cosmic beings and ascended masters that will stand for the rest of civilizations being brought forth on this planet. Cosmically speaking, there are natural channels which are feeders of spiritual vitality. In two areas on Earth, great rays focus cosmic feeders of spiritual currents which sustain the light and the pulse beat of Earth. At 7 points on Earth surface, there are focuses, tunnels, channels, funnels of light through which the spiritual radiation is poured down from the higher octaves and then radiated out of the atmosphere of Earth. These funnels or channels provide the lifeline through which the spiritual radiation flows, sustains the soul life of mankind. Without an open door from the higher octaves into the astral and psychic realms, the spiritual selves of men could not have survived through the dark ages. The drawing down of the spiritual vitality and the radiating of that vitality out into the astral and psychic realms is part of an activity of the sixth ray. This dissolves and consumes much of the creation that there is. Then there are created channels. There are other rays that are drawn and tied into Earth by voluntary life streams who choose to take that ray into their bodies. They pass through the veil of birth and living along the Earth itself, magnetize that ray and tie it into Earth's atmosphere, leaving it on Earth after they depart. There was done by the beloved Saint Germain with the freedom flame. It was done by the beloved Ophelius, who drew the mighty healing circumstances and currents which would be used by him in his next life as Master Jesus. It was done by Lord Buddha, who incarnating continued to contemplate the nature of God and magnetize that nature in the locations where his physical body had its pilgrimage. He did this to such an extent that even when he left his physical body, that pulsating rhythm of the ray which he brought to Earth continued to remain and radiate forth as nourishment for the people. In India today, the inner sight of the developed may see the beam of light like a sun through the natural atmosphere of the environment where he lived. This is a concentrated, magnetized ray that Buddha drew and left after him as a spiritual stimulus to the entire Buddhistic religion. And Master Jesus did the same. He drew with beloved Mary and the disciples and others that ray of nourishment of Christian dispensation into Earth. In the holy land of that ray is pulsating, living thing, and its actions is if you had stepped into the dark room into a searchlight radiating forth in every direction. When a being contemplates a virtue in the heart of God, like freedom, and desires to bring that quality into the lower atmosphere of Earth, he volunteers to tie it into the quality of his own life. It becomes a part of his heartbeat. Then there is only one way to draw that into the consciousness and atmosphere of Earth. That is to take embodiment and direct that quality energy into the atmosphere in a rhythmic pulsation through the heartbeat. Each incarnation requires absolute dedication to sustaining the rhythm of the recognition of that quality over and over and over again, constantly and without ceasing for many and many centuries. When it is so anchored, the being who has taken the responsibility for drawing the ray forth cannot leave that ray until volunteers agree to take upon themselves the responsibility of feeding it rhythmically to keep them alive. It requires that at least one in every 12th of 24-hour period, such volunteers individually give recognition to that flame. Otherwise, do you know what happens? Those rays, when they are no longer magnetized, begin to ascend back into their natural sphere, becoming its nature of all of light to ascend. It requires the presence of at least one unascended being willing so to guard, love, and sustain the sphere and flame until all life is free. Now, the spiritual vitality that flows into the planet Earth and into the consciousness of the people flows primarily through congratulations, where numbers of people are gathered together under a leader or a dictator of to worship God. They draw down a benediction, a grace, a spiritual nourishment that expands the soul of light of the spiritual self. There are and have been great Orthodox speakers and leaders who are tremendous magnets for the spiritual vitality. Where they go, there is what is called a spiritual revival, which means that such an individual, through his own enthusiasm and magnetic power, invokes a more than ordinary release of spiritual benediction. Every live stream in spirituality stimulated who joins with the worship. Many of them you know. Billy Sunday was one. There were more, and there are others. People who come into the metaphysical understanding sometimes feel very superior, and they pass through a time when they laugh at the orthodox concepts. Then they come to greater spiritual maturity and realize that the service of the orthodox is essential in its way. In your individual lives, I cannot emphasize too strongly the fact that personal application provides spiritual vitality and nourishment. The rhythm of your personal application and the rhythm of cooperative endeavors in groups draws into your spirit the nourishment that makes it strong. It makes you a greater magnetic power to draw good from the universe, makes you a greater radiating center, and makes you grow into spiritual stature. No individual should feel religious worship is duty. It is a magnificent opportunity to expose the starved and shriveled soul to the nourishment of those vital currents that flow from God Himself and from the angels of ministration at a congregational level. Why did Jesus say, "When two or more are gathered together in my name"? Why did He not say, "When one says his prayers"? Because the merging of consciousness, the flame, and the intensity of that magnetic field through the power of each live stream warrants a great deal more of energy than the endeavors of one individual alone. However, certain amount of spiritual vitality does flow the moment you think God. There is so much for me to say. There is so much more for me to cover. Your consciousness, your cup, my children. When your cup is full, there is no more that will fit within it. Gradually, from within it, or without, we are endeavoring to increase the size of your cup, to open the mouth of it and enable you to receive greater powers and understanding without a sense of pressure or mental exhaustion. Until that time, we have abide in a certain presence and patience, where there is so much to do, so much to give, and so little comparative capacity to receive. I want to speak to you on one more subject before I enter my service as the messenger of this day and that is faith healings. The angels of ministration work a great deal with divas in hospitals, with asylums, and all penal institutions, and all places where there are sick of mind and body. That same spiritual grace and vitality of which I spoke is poured forth from the sixth sphere and is given to those angels of ministration. Whenever possible, where acceptance and faith are present, the currents are poured into the life streams and healings do over and occur. Now at inner levels, before the karmic board, and before your own holy Christ self, you have applied to become masters of power, powers of the sacred fire, masters of thought, feeling, and circumstance. You have, therefore, forsworn faith healings until you have developed the capacity within your own consciousness to recreate perfection at will. This is a very important and subtle point. You have asked in regard to healing and in regard to finance that you might become master, conscious master of the power of participation and precipitation, and conscious master over your bodies, minds, and worlds. In this way, the scientific understanding of the law which you would receive would make you able to assist hundreds and thousands by like change of consciousness, which would bring change to the effect of the world of form. You are endeavoring nightly, while out of body and daily in your own thinking and feeling selves, to learn the key by which the combinations of energy and applications will result in perfect manifestation. You do not wish to have manifestation handed to you by an external, lest the inner cause again to be set up and you find yourself again in chains. Do you see? As beloved Saint Germain said, freedom comes when you are the master of circumstances consciously and can regulate any set of circumstances by the flame within your heart. There is no other permanent freedom. Think on this. Do not be discouraged. In the schoolroom of life, it would be easier to have an individual who passed successfully through your course work your problems for you. Many, many men and women do, but the wise man learns a principle himself, lest the man on whom he relies to solve his problems should not be there when his great opportunity comes. You are in training to become masters. There is a scientific application by which you can have the fullness of every good and perfect thing. We have brought you these flames, to use them, to have them brought to us the cosmic mastery of our realms, and that you will bring that mastery to you too. Now you can forswear your vow before the law at any moment. You can accept help which lesser men have received. Are you then any richer in your own consciousness, except the temporary surcease of discomfort? The men and women who have been miraculously healed down through the ages, miraculously, through the intercession of the beloved Jesus and Mary and angels, have created again and again and again similar conditions. Beloved ones, the law has decided that it is time these inner causes be studied and examined. It is time that mankind come to a mature understanding that he has full freedom when his own energy, obeying in own directions in cooperation with the magnetized power of the cosmic feelings and cosmic beings, surges forth and does for him that which is the requirement of the movement. Then, if you were able to see only one man left in America, you would then be as completely composed and free as if You are surrounded by thousands of friends. It is to you who stand on the island of separateness and yet at one with all of it. It is to you that we shall look when the masses run hither and thither in fear and uncertainty, having not the wherewithal of cloth on the bodies to feed themselves during times of world changes. It is not better to receive that training and become the master of that energy now, while there is time? Oh yes, it truly is. We are in great days. Magnificent activities are taking place at inner levels, and I want you to think of your own consciousness for a moment. How truly there is no space. Your consciousness is like a lovely mirror, a cosmic mirror, as we will say, and we have used it quite freely and recently. We have been able to flash pictures upon it, each of you to enjoy these pictures as much as if your physical body were present at inner levels, where the activities were taking place. That is a great development, more than you know, because we have done it gradually, and we have led you along like children. You have enjoyed the pageant of the spring. You have enjoyed the opening of the Blue Lotus Retreat. Your lovely consciousness, just relax and record the beauty taking place at inner levels. For the moment that you are free, for the moment that you are living with us in those inner levels, that is good. That is what we have tried to do, because by flashing into your consciousness the activities taking place at inner levels, your consciousness being receptive and alert, then your energies are able to cooperate with the current endeavors of the God-free as much more service is rendered. There are several activities taking place that would be interesting. Both the eastern and western hemispheres are being blasted excitedly and exceedingly. The festivals are in progress in Asia, and the eastern hemisphere will receive the blessings of Buddha, and the Christian world will receive the blessings of the angels of ministration and the cosmic Christ. Over every church in Europe, as well as here in the West, there is a grail, and into that cup the ministering diva has drawn the prayers, hopes, aspirations, songs, masses, and general services ever since that church was built. Each one of these churches has a tremendous stockpile of spiritual vitality. Those in Europe, some of the old cathedrals have gathered a tremendous momentum of reverence. The Lord Buddha is already ready to go in the valley, and this will amuse you. And in the East, the spirituality proudness of the fact that thinks nothing of form. For many months, the pilgrims from over the world of China, Malaysia, and Asia, as well as Asia proper, have been following their hearts, praying and hoping to find the valley chosen for the festival. You see, each year a different location is chosen, and there is no outer invitation goes forth. There is no written word even between the masters and their conscious cellists, as well as to where that place of visitation will be. It is a complete test to follow your own soul light. Some people have walked on this pilgrimage for 40 years and have never yet found the valley. Some find it every year. The nomads from Tibet and China, even Siberia, have traveled with their tents on their backs, and they have been heading towards India, towards the valley. Those who have found their way there have set up their tents on the hillsides and made their fires. It is a beautiful month in the northern India. They have very early mountain laurel and some very early rhododendrons, and it is the month of a very great beauty. The valley chosen this year has a waterfall at one end and have been placed on the altar with the lotus flowers and the floral decorations in front of it. The Buddha is already present, having come from Peking, and he is walking among the pilgrims. Yet none of them have recognized him, and all are waiting for his presence, which comes tomorrow. There you are. Isn't it the truth? You have a gift in your mindset, and you look afar off. Buddha has been walking among the pilgrims, drinking from the Eastern pans, sharing the temples of lamas who have spent the whole embodiments praying to him, and no one yet has found him. Yet they are all wishing today. It is the day of being born, and they are washing their tents, and they are washing their clothes, and they are washing themselves for tomorrow. There you are. There is that world of form. It makes me smile at Asia. I wonder what Buddha will do tomorrow. Knowing him, he will probably just disappear, because he would not even disappoint them by letting them know that they have been rather foolish. Let's not look afar off. I smile often at people who are so tied and desiring to go to heaven for a rest. What I am describing to you is what we do all the time. That is but a little digest of our activities of an hour. I see the outer mind saying, "It does not seem possible. It seems like a fantasy." Yet, how do you know that what has been going on in heaven for the last 6 million years? Nobody has told you. It seems like a fantasy to the outer self. When we part the veil, we tell you what is here, and the outer mind says it couldn't be. All these things couldn't happen. Oh dear God, the human self is so strange. But assured, those blessed souls who want to get out of work had better not plan to come here. Now, while the valley is filled with the people of the East, and all the angels and ceremonial beings and belongings of Saint Germain's legions are taking office in the West. In the sphere of 6, the activity of the Sacred Heart takes place. In the other 6 spheres, there are also activities going on just as magnificent as that is just our sun. Our sun is just one of the 7. The 7 suns are all engaged in activities that would stagger the human mind, but no one has ever told mankind about them. Thus, when you part the veil for a moment, it seems fantastic. That is the activity of life's constant service. I shall tell you what is going on in the Temple of the Sacred Heart before we close. There are some 300 million life streams who have been passed by the Karmic Board, all of whom have vowed to serve the light according to their capacity. Now you must remember that makes a great difference in what they will do, because the capacity of consciousness and momentum of some of these is very small, so don't expect 300 million firebrands. If they all serve according to their own light, we will be fortunate, but many inner vows are never kept. However, they bind the life stream to some time, somewhere, those vows must be fulfilled. Of these 300 million, about 1 out of every 3 will lose his body before he receives it. That is a sad but true fact. You will have stillborns, your abortions, your miscarriages. You have had many embodied life streams who will rebel furiously at being caused to fulfill the service for which any engage their senses, and so, out of the 300 million, not all will incarnate. The beloved Mary told you in one of her first addresses that it is her joy to help the souls fashion the Sacred Heart. The very best elemental substance of the physical world is used for the heart, because the heart is the chalice in which the immortal threefold flame abides. During the month of May, the body elemental and the soul join in the 6th sphere at this glorious temple of the Sacred Heart of Mary. It is situated in the country, and now, you see, isn't it magnificent? Space does not exist. Now think for a moment in your own consciousness, dear hearts. Your consciousness can create in thought, the sun, the moon, and the stars. You can just keep on expanding, and you can put in the many galaxies and universes as you want. In your consciousness, you can surround your home with acres of ground. You can put mountains in it if you want, and a seashore. Well, of course, that is freedom with which we function in the inner realms. If there is one thing above all else the people enjoy at the inner realms, it is the spaciousness of the inner spheres. The Sacred Heart Temple is in what you would call asylum fields. As you approach it, the fields are covered at this time with beautiful yellow flowers, similar to the daisies with golden centers. Mary's temple itself is Grecian in style, open to the sky, and very large, covered in pink roses. Coming from all directions through these fields, there are no paths. Knee-deep in these beautiful yellow flowers are the 300 million souls offered opportunity to incarnate this year. They are approaching this magnificent temple where they will receive the blessings and the substance which will make up their hearts. It will probably take a week to do this, but as it begins today, I would like to give it to you to just digest. Most of these souls are in their etheric bodies. You know the etheric body is a mirror. It is a nature. The etheric body mirrors all experience. The etheric body takes on the form and the shape, the thoughts and the feelings. When a man dies, his etheric body looks just as prostrate form. If the physical body is shriveled up and worn out, the etheric body looks like that. When they pass over to the other side, the etheric body mirrors its surroundings as it begins to throw off the appearance of age. Everyone in the inner realms has returned to about 35 years of age. In the few years of the etheric body of the newly passed again assumes an appearance of youth. The etheric bodies come to this temple, but the physical substance which will make up the next earth body will cause the body elemental and the etheric body to be misshapen again. If such a type of garnet which the soul has earned, there is often a rebellion in the body elemental, and there is a rebellion. When the life stream is required to enter the grotesque form or misshapen form, do you see? It is our desire among you, your many other tasks, if you would make some calls to those who are destined by karma, to the umbilic bodies and the forms that are very distorted, might have karmic mitigated. Ask that they come into the bodies, at least all their members, in working order, with all that you are and all that you have to call them for mercy. My beloved Mary is wearing soft blue, with the blue veil over her head. It doesn't entirely cover her lovely golden hair. It is like a soft chiffon. She is standing towards the front of the temple door and blesses their souls with her hand outstretched, but she doesn't touch them. They walk along and take their seats in various places. This will continue through the day and through the night. Please call to Kuan Yin for mercy for these blessed ones, that each one will get the best body possible. Call for those who perhaps would lose their opportunity to secure the body. Those who do not so lose it suffer terribly. Imagine being passed by the karmic board and then losing the opportunity to incarnate. It is a great trial. The individuals are picked out and given a chance. 2 people have been denied an incarnation so that they can come in then. Just when the body is fashioned, it is destroyed and the opportunity is lost. That is also the cause for sadness and rebellion. Please make the call that they receive the best possible garnets, as they are incarnating life streams that come in. If you will just visualize them and feel the violet flame passing through them, it will help. Let me see now what you will do with your aura in the days just ahead. Make it something we can use and remember, remember, remember. Uriel is no farther from you than a call. Just the silent thought of God will bring me on the instant. I am your friend. I am your servant. I am your companion in light. Uriel, the messenger of the Most High, I thank you.